With the IPCC report out now, let's talk about what has happened and what is likely to happen and how things just might get worse if they don't immediately get better. So humans have already heated the planet by roughly 1.1 degrees Celsius or 2 degrees Fahrenheit since the 19th century. And even if nations started sharply cutting emissions today, total global warming is likely to rise around 1.5 degrees Celsius within the next 2 decades, a hotter future that is now essentially locked in. So like all the stuff that we've done that's really bad, we're gonna have more than that much more no matter what we apparently do. So what will that look like? Well, at 1.5 degrees of warming, scientists have found the dangers grow considerably. Nearly 1 billion people worldwide could swelter in more frequent life-threatening heat waves. Hundreds of millions more would struggle for water because of severe droughts. Some animal and plant species alive today will be gone. Coral reefs, which sustain fisheries for large swaths of the globe, will suffer more frequent mass die-offs. So at 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, this is where it's getting fun. Air can hold significantly more moisture than it does now, making droughts more likely and extreme rainfall worse. I don't think that gets talked about enough, that like it literally will hold more moisture in the air. Like that's a thing that happens and that will be everywhere. At 4 degrees Celsius, intense heat waves that used to occur about once every 50 years will become annual events. And what do you mean will become? That's happening right now. Like look at Palm Springs every year. Look at, I understand we're in California, but
Palm Springs,
it's getting bad.
Palm Springs is an abomination and should have never been built in the first place. Number one, it's the middle of a desert. But
yes,
look at Greece, look at towns in Germany being swept away. Yeah, this is not every year. This is every couple months.
Yeah,
there is an unprecedented weather event that is destroying a community somewhere around the world.
Yeah. And so look, here I'm trying to focus on like so right now we have so many people in power who either don't accept that this is happening or pretend that it's not happening as they like stuff their pockets with cash. If we could get them to accept it, what they might think is, okay, so it's getting a little bit worse. But that's not really how it's working. I mean, that's why we mentioned the thing about the air sucking up the moisture, causing droughts and causing problems with farming and things like that. But that's not the only example of it. And we return to this every once in a while because not a lot of shows do, but I want to focus on it a little bit more. So warming beyond 2 degrees Celsius, which is going to happen, also carries increased risk of setting off feedback processes that cause climate change to accelerate. Higher temperatures will thaw Arctic permafrost, potentially unleashing carbon that has been locked in a deep freeze for thousands of years. Methane trapped in the deep sea could make its way into the atmosphere. Wildfires could turn millions more acres of carbon-rich forests into a source of additional greenhouse gases. I often mention that there is a limit to how much heat the ocean can absorb, and that will tail off over time. That is one thing that has been sort of masking how hot the world has been getting. Some of it is going into the ocean, which we don't feel as directly, but that is not going to last forever. These sinks for carbon, the ocean, the Arctic, the Amazon, all of that, they're all being destroyed. And that means that we will not just have a worsening of our situation, we will have an accelerating worsening of our situation. And it leaves us in a place where, to throw out some numbers that will mean little to me or you probably, humans can unleash less than 500 additional gigatons of carbon dioxide, the equivalent of about 10 years of current global emissions, to have an even chance of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. And so we will get in a moment into what the US and other countries are trying to do, but Francesca, what do you think?
Okay, 500 gigatons divided by 8 billion people. How many are we?
So something like that. It's getting close, yeah.
Okay, so like how many gigaton? How many point zeros of a gigaton do I get? I just like, let's parse it out, people. How much more can you spend? And what can you not afford to do? And I mean, this is real, right? Okay, so the thing about the IPCC is that it is effectively toothless, right? There is no enforcement agency. It is part of the United Nations, already doesn't have an enforcement body. There are not monetary consequences on countries that do not comply with any of these recommendations. They are, in fact, recommendations. And we need to change that, right? We all need to become angry Swedish preteens and demand that our governments actually act on this. It's because it is terrifying. And we know that it is not on each individual person to individually stop doing one individual thing. Yes, it helps. I'm not saying it doesn't help. It definitely fights the sadness. I know my compost in my front yard helps me feel a little bit less terrible, just a little bit. But on a macro scale, it is at the level, and all, climate writers and journalists have said this, including Naomi Klein, right? That it is too big. There is too much money that needs to be invested to switch course on this. That as good as you might feel about, getting a paper straw, which, look, I don't even dunk on that. I think that's fine. But we need broad action. We need governmental and corporate. I mean, we need governmental action to clamp down on the corporate action. Because these corporations will make money off of the lifeboats we're using to escape this, the fire. Like they will be selling you their merch on that boat and be like, well, if you pay for a subscription, you'll get a daily, droplet of water or whatever the hell it is, like, ooh, fresh water from Amazon. And literally, like I'm sorry, this is just Anna and I did a story recently about the fires in the Amazon, the actual Amazon. And I Googled, because this is how I do research, no big deal. I Googled Amazon fire. What is the first thing you get when you Google Amazon fire? Oh, the little
tablet.
Stick, exactly. The tablet, the thing that Jeff Bezos decided to name his effing product after not just a rainforest that the world relies on, that he is effectively helping to destroy because the massive amounts of carbon it takes to send all that BS all over the world. But then the Fire Stick.
It is weird.
Like, we suck. We suck. Humanity sucks. Capitalism sucks.
Yeah, it'd be like a new spin-off of my product, Coral. You've liked the original Coral. Now we have Coral Bleach. That seems weird. Don't do that. Yes. And as you're pointing out, they're making money off this. And there is sort of a fundamental disconnect where the entities, corporations, politicians who are most directly responsible for all of this are making all of the money doing it. They're not just doing it because their kink is destroying the environment. They're making money off of it. We're suffering and not making any money. So you have the two different sides. And the one side that's suffering is saying, hey, would you guys willingly, voluntarily stop making all the ungodly amounts of money that you're getting at no personal cost to you? And expecting, hey, maybe it'll work this time. Except it's not going to. So we need to replace all the politicians. We need to make doing what they're doing either literally illegal or more costly than the solution. And instead, we're wasting time arguing about whether the only politicians actually pushing for a solution here are secretly the worst.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.